We didn't promote it too much during the summer because it's too hot to walk out there. It just is. So we were hoping for cooler weather and we could promote it again. So we are moving forward in faith that it is going to get cooler and that you will like walking our labyrinth. The labyrinth is a walk. It's not a maze. There's a certain way to go into the labyrinth. You know, we'd love to have pictures. A certain way to go in the labyrinth, and you go out the same way that you went into the labyrinth. So you cannot get lost. So please don't be afraid of that. Um, there are many reasons for walking the labyrinth. You can walk it because you're joyful. We have a labyrinth at church, and a couple Sundays ago, I was watching a little girl and her daddy were on the labyrinth, and she was skipping along and just moving along. She was going the path. And her daddy then was behind her, and he was walking more slowly, more meditatively. So whichever way you want to walk the labyrinth, that's the way that you could walk it. And sometimes it might be with joy, sometimes it might be with sadness. You may have a problem that you're trying to work out. You may have some family member that you're concerned about, some issue that is really big on your heart, and that's the way you can walk the labyrinth. And just walking the circuits, it goes back and forth and back and forth, and just doing that over and over, somehow that calms our spirits and it helps us to accept whatever it is that we have ahead. And it lowers anxiety. I was thinking of all the people who walk here at Friendship Village, that maybe you could have that at the end of your walk in the village. You could either go over there and walk it quickly like you do your own walk around the village and the streets, or you could begin your walk with that and do it more slowly. There are different ways that you can walk the labyrinth that I think would really be very, very beneficial to you. Our labyrinth was started by a former chaplain, Chaplain Tara Bartholomew. And she had the dream. And then we talked to administration, but then to Richard Kulik on grounds, and they developed our labyrinth for us. And please go over and see it because they planted plants around it. It really, really is beautiful. And even more so will it be when more foliage comes out. The labyrinth was dedicated to all the employees, past, present, and future, of Friendship Village, and it was given by the husband of Donna Winarowitz, I think is how you pronounce her name. She was an employee for 20-some years, I believe it is, over at the healthcare center. And she worked there so long that her husband loved Friendship Village, so her husband wanted to dedicate this. And so everyone can walk it. The staff, the employees, all of us, your family. You might take your grandchildren over there and walk the labyrinth. So if you would like to know more about the labyrinth, we are going to have an education time on October 16th, which is a Wednesday, in PDR at 9:30. It'll be 20 minutes or so, and then we'll go as a group over to walk the labyrinth. So please come and join us. I think you'll find it really beneficial for your life. Any questions? Thank you so much.
Well, I have learned that we are not going to be able to use our PowerPoint projector today. So some of the things that we wanted to share with you, we will not be able to share. So, all right, thank you very much, Shirley. Moving on to our Residence Council report, we will have Mary Gray, our Residence Council President, providing that to us. Please welcome Mary Gray to the stage.
The resident council is made up of many, I should say several, standing committees. I have reported on some of those earlier in the year. We have had a lot of action this last month. I'm not going to go into all of that. The minutes will be posted on our resident app, and they will also be posted in the alcove if you want to see all the details. I do want to mention that the Activities Committee has changed some of their procedures. Some of the things were outdated, some of them are incorrect, and so that has been approved. It is election time for representatives from the areas. The resident council representatives should have already or are in the process of nominating members of the community for next year's junior representatives. Those will be due by October 10th, so if you're one of those representatives that's supposed to be doing that work, it needs to be done this week. Then the elections will be concluded by November 10th. I think November 1st, I'm sorry, I wrote it on my paper wrong. Thank you. Jay is in charge of that, so he knows it's November 1st the election will be completed. One of the main standing committees that works this time of year, election is one that doesn't work till now, and Employee Appreciation Committee does not work until now. We are going to have a report from our chairman on that, so I don't have to go into the details, but that's a really important part of what we do in the resident council. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mary. Thank you, Residents Council. Good segue into Tom Poole, our Employee Appreciation Fund Chairman. Please welcome Tom to the stage.
Earlier this week, I left a letter in your box about the hows of the Employee Appreciation Gift Fund. Today, I would like to talk more about the whys than the hows. And I'll start with a joke since we're doing jokes today. How many senior citizens does it take to change a light bulb? Just one, but it may take all day. That's why we're here today, to talk about how we can show once a year our appreciation and gratitude for the people who do a number of things for us every day, just one of which might take us all day to do, like food service workers and servers, the housekeepers, the groundskeepers, the tram and bus drivers, the AILs, Nunnenkamp workers, the health care center caregivers, and many other services too numerous to mention. Friendship Village Tempe has a policy that no gratuities or gifts to staff are allowed. Gratuities are defined as presents or cash given to acknowledge services received. Once a year, the residents can show their gratitude and appreciation through gifts to the Friendship Village Employee Appreciation Gift Fund, founded in 1980. At Friendship Village, we have an engaged workforce who enjoys providing stellar hospitality for older people. As just one example, my wife and I have written our observations of a Friendship Village bus driver on one evening going to and from the Phoenix Symphony. A new resident got on the bus with tickets for the Friday night symphony, but the resident signed up for the bus that was going to the same performance on Sunday afternoon. The bus was full and accordingly had no room for the new resident. The driver quickly sized up the situation and saved the day by asking everyone to temporarily disembark for a few minutes so that he could get a larger bus so that everyone, including the new residents, could get to the performance on time. Getting back on the bus after the concert, another resident was having trouble getting up the stairs. The driver got behind her at the bottom of the stairs with his hands firmly placed on each side of the handrail. The resident fell back 2 steps with her full body weight onto the driver, who caught her with what looked like all his strength, avoiding serious injury to the driver, and not without some risk to the driver. When the resident asked if he was okay and tried to thank him profusely, the driver said that he was okay and no thanks are needed. He said, "It is my job to do that." By his action, the driver avoided tragedies for 2 residents that night. Employees tell us that their annual employee appreciation gift check is not presumed by them, but greatly appreciated. Many employees say that the gift fund check allows them to do something special for their family, particularly children and grandchildren, that in many cases they would not have a chance to do, such as have a holiday with presents, visits or have family visit who do not live nearby, give exceptional assistance to children with special needs, such as special medicines. We often think of the Employee Appreciation Gift Fund as benefiting families, but many employees are single people. Single people have sent us emails that their annual gift fund check has enabled them to do things such as buy new tires so that they could drive safely to work, place a deposit on an apartment close enough to work so that they could walk rather than take public transportation, which was described as long and scary, help get a down payment in order to buy a safer car to drive to work. The gift fund is based on 4 cardinal principles. 1, all employees are included. 2, resident giving is voluntary and confidential. It's whether you want to give and at the level you want to give at. One member of our committee, not me, who is a resident, empties the gift box every night and makes the weekly deposit. No records or list of names are created in order to guarantee confidentiality. 3, all employees are gifted for purposes of the Employee Appreciation Gift Fund at the same hourly rate, regardless of rank or tenure. The hourly rate is determined by taking the total amount contributed by the residents divided by the total annual hours worked by all employees, limited to 40 hours per week, equals the gift fund's hourly rate. Each employee's annual employee gift fund check is determined by the number of hours worked during the year, limited to 40 hours per week, times the gift fund's hourly rate. About 85% of the employees work a 40-hour week. Employees who only work part of the year do not get as large a check as the employees who work the full 52 weeks. So what are we asking the residents to do? Throughout the year, the employees care for us. Through the gift fund, we have an opportunity once a year to demonstrate to the employees in a quantitative way how much we also care about them. In the last 2 years, resident occupancy has increased, requiring more employees to take care of more residents. Last year, the residents gave $360,349 to the Employee Appreciation Fund. The Gift Fund Committee unanimously voted this year to set a goal of $360,000. The committee has asked me to state that they hope that the goal will be exceeded so that we can give each employee a larger gift check than we did last year. In 2018, employees who worked a 40-hour week for the full year received a gift check of $910. This is the only time of the year that we have a chance to demonstrate to the employees what is in our heart. Please be generous and give what you can. Give a check that your heart can cash. Thank you.
Trying something here. No. All right. Just keep playing with your emotions all village meeting. Okay, thank you, Tom. Nicely done. And thank you all, Employee Appreciation Fund participants. All right, next we're going to have our sales and marketing report that'll be given to us by Neil Peterson, our sales and marketing director. Please welcome Neil to the stage.
Okay. Well, we got a fuller house each month now. We're back to the fall, right? It's here. Okay, well, I've got some more news to share with you. I'm going to share with you, but not on the screen, right? Paul? Yeah, Paul, hello. Bueller? Okay, good, all right. Third quarter. Third quarter ended on the 30th, this last Monday. And you're just going to have to take my word for it because I'm not going to show it to you on the screen. We ended up with 12 closings. Closings are slowing down a bit because sales have slowed down a bit. And the stuff we're selling now isn't going to be closing for a couple years, and I'll get to that in just a minute, or a year and a half. Of those 12 closings, there were 10 traditional and 2 were leases. Our total entrance fees were a little over $2 million. And the monthly fees were about $42,500. And of those, for those with an interest, we had 6 garden homes that we actually closed on, completed. We had 6 apartments. And for those that really want to know, there are 5 couples and 7 singles constituting the 12 closings that we had. So again, that took place between July 1st and September 30th. I'm excited to share with you in terms of sales. Now I'm going to make it sound really good because I'm going to add the new apartment sales to this number. Then I'm going to break that one out in just a minute. So my team has, needless to say, been very focused recently on selling, getting deposits, big deposits, on our new apartment building project. And we completed in the quarter ending on Monday 33 net sales, 28 were traditional, 5 were return of capital, and of the 33 net sales, we still sold 6 garden homes, 7 apartments, and then we sold 23 new apartments during that quarter. The new apartment status is this. We have, again, 40 brand new apartments that we're going to be constructing, and we have now sold 32 of the 40. And we're very pleased with that. Our investors are very pleased. We spent some time this morning, and Cole may elaborate a bit more with some people from Vanguard in terms of generating funding for the bonds and so forth, and we are beyond where we had projected initially that we would be with them, and we're at 32. We have another, I've got 2 more appointments coming up in the next, by next Wednesday. Hopefully we'll maybe get 1 or 2 more. And then we have another seminar on the 10th, which is next Thursday, a week from today, in this room. Cole and I will be presenting. Again, this is kind of our final seminar regarding our new building. Right now, we have 55 prospects RSVP to attend. So fingers and toes crossed, we maybe could have this building sold out in the very near future. Wouldn't that be special if that could get done? That would be exciting for everybody. The other thing I want to share with you is that we have, again, 46 on the ready list. And again, the ready list, I've shared with you before, couple/singles, 46 parties, have signed up and given us $10,000 apiece. So that's a lot of money when you add it all up, to get on the list for a garden home or for a Main Street apartment. And some of those lists are quite lengthy, so they may have a very long wait. We just don't know. So I wanted to share that with you because I think that's indicative of the popularity that we're seeing here. And as we shared last month, the Courtyard apartments, we're no longer selling or leasing in those. So our focus is strictly on Main Street, garden homes, and then the new apartment building. So very, very happy with that thus far. And again, all of this, and I'll come back later and have a couple of remarks, is not possible without a huge team effort, and I'm looking at a very important part of our sales team in this room. I cannot again tell you how much you mean to us and how much easier you make our job and how much credibility you add to marketing and sales when you talk as you do about this place. So I want to thank all of you for that. As part of that, again, in the resident referral program, I've got some drawings and I've also got some winners for the quarter. In fact, I'll announce the winners now, and then I will have Jay Dean come up and draw a couple winners for our fireside. So in the last quarter, Shirley Wells referred Rosemary Anderson, and based on that, both Shirley and Rosemary, if you're here, I'd like you to come up at the end of the meeting, and I'm going to be happy to give you a $500 Visa gift card for each of you. The other winner is Margaret Willoughby and her referral of Jeannie Olson. If you're here today, if you could come up. If not, I'll find you. And I'd like to present you with the same, a $500 Visa gift card. So congratulations and thank you so much. And again, the basis of that was the referral came to us. These people, whether it be Jeannie and Rosemary, were not in our database. Amazingly, they'd never met Jan Grubmeyer 20 years ago. So we not only met with them, talked with them, got them to move forward with us, and they did it within a year. And that was kind of the condition to get this extra gift card. But also, and very importantly, and we continue to get these and we appreciate it so much, are the referrals that you all provide. And if it's, doesn't qualify for the gift card, you're certainly in here for the dinner. And this is a dinner for 4 at the fireside. So we've got a couple winners for the month. And if you can dig down deeply, Jay Dean, and Art Kearns. And if Art's here, if not, I'll find you, and you're going to get a dinner for 4 at the fireside. Congratulations. I love it when the spouse isn't, he only puts his name down and not his wonderful wife. Not sure what that means, but you all know now. And Judy DeMott. So Judy and Art, congratulations. After the meeting, come on up, or if I don't see you in here, I'll come out and find you. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Jadine Schmidt, Health Services Administrator, for those of you that do not know me. However, I see a lot of familiar faces. The census for the month of September at Nuttingham Center was 66 of 67 apartments occupied. Memory care census is 22 of 24 apartments occupied. And the healthcare center average census for the month of September was 110. We had 49 admissions with 53 discharges. I will tell you the bad news first. I hope no one brought tomatoes, but we did not receive our shipment of the flu vaccine from the manufacturer. So we've heard that they are delayed nationally. The flu clinic was originally supposed to be on Friday, this Friday the 4th. Because the SCRM is so booked, what we're going to do is when we get the shipment of the flu vaccine, we are going to give at least 10 days notice as best as possible. We will be communicating via 1960, the channel, and we will likely have it at the rec center. If you feel that you need it sooner because you are immunocompromised or you're traveling, I do know CVS and Walgreens have them. We will also be offering only the high-dose Fluzone by Sanofi, which is the manufacturer this year, and that is what is recommended for individuals over the age of 65. So as soon as we know more, we will definitely get that information out to you. Historically, I've been in the health center 7 years, and the flu vaccine has always arrived between the second week of September and the fourth week of September. So we didn't expect the manufacturer delay, and we apologize, but we will get it out as soon as we possibly can. I know that a few residents had gone to Cole and Emily asking about active shooter training. We are actually bringing that to the village on December 3rd for residents that want to participate. We are offering a session in the morning for our staff members, but in the afternoon from 1 to 4 here in the SCRM, again December 3rd, we will be offering active shooter training to any residents that want to participate. We have a gentleman that we work with in the healthcare center. His name's Stan Spitek, but it's spelled very funny, so he goes by Stan the fireman. He is our life safety consultant over at the healthcare center, and as part of our package, he offers that to us at no charge. He is very informative. He is a great speaker, very engaging, so even if you have the least bit of interest, I encourage you to attend. It should be a good session. I want to talk a little bit about the Alzheimer's Fund and the raising of funds. I'm sure Cole will talk a little bit more about the barbecue. Statistically, I just wanted to share what we have raised to date. Casino night was $373.50. The silent auction raised $1,273. The quilt raffle brought $869. The t-shirt sales, $1,000. Donations, just straight donations, $507. And the barbecue ticket was $4,778.54. I have no idea how there's 54 cents, but the total is $8,801.04. And just for those of you that have been here in years past for fundraising, we have never been able to get over $6,000. So thank you all for all of your participation and donations. With that, we will have the walk here at Friendship Village. We will start here in the SCRM auditorium at 8:30 in the morning for a pep rally on November 2nd. All of that, of course, will be in the Villager and on Channel 1960 if it isn't already. We encourage you to participate. We will be having half-mile loop and a 1-mile loop, so you can pick, or if you simply want to cheer everyone on, obviously there will be plenty of seating in the SCRM, and then we will end back here for refreshments. So please join if you are able to do so. Last but not least, this is from Mary Lockhart. Leading Age Arizona Fitness Challenge for Seniors is on November 6th at North Phoenix Baptist Church again. Registration is open for Friendship Village residents who would like to join their winning team. Spectators, also known as cheerleaders, are welcome to attend. The events that they are having this year include Wii Bowling, an obstacle course, basketball bounce, half-mile walk, balloon volleyball, apparently that's a non-medal event, and each community is limited to 3 participants per event and 13 total athletes. So if you are interested in participating, please feel free to stop by the Kelly Family Fitness Center. I believe they need to be registered before October 21st. So please let Barbara or Mary or Jesus know that you are interested in participating in which event. And I believe that Barbara will be doing the training with those individuals. Are there any questions? Yes, Tom. So active shooter, because there are so many mass shootings across the United States, it basically teaches run, hide, fight, and so what to do if you're ever faced, whether you're outside of these 4 walls or in these 4 walls. and just kind of hoping that you have a plan. That's really the focus, is that you've thought about it at least, you know where exits are. And it's just good. I always, I made my kids go through it just because you never know. Things happen at Target or malls just the same. So it's kind of basic level. It's not intended to be scary or intimidating, but just making sure and reassuring people that they have a plan in the event something horrible happens. Are there any other questions? Thank you.
Just to add on to the active shooter discussion, that is the video that we showed last month. We showed kind of that run, hide, fight video. So, all right, thank you, Jadine. Next, we have our Associate Executive Director, Emily Garba, coming up to give her report. Please welcome Emily to the stage.
Good afternoon, everybody. That was a great response, okay. But no fear, I was the only one that didn't have AV, so I'm not disappointed. Just everybody else. All right, I have 2 dog requests for you all the dog owners in the crowd today. They came together beautifully at the same time, so I don't have to make 2 separate announcements. Please pick up after your dogs, and when you do so, please do not throw it away in the indoor trash cans. That is a thing that's been happening, so please don't do that. All right, came together beautifully. So, photographer, we are having our photographer on site mid this month, so October 16th and 17th in the private dining room. You can sign up in the specials book under P for photographer. You're welcome to, if you don't have a picture, to have it taken, or if you think you can get a better angle, you're welcome to come back and try again this year. Just as a reminder, if you're a new resident or someone who we've been hounding for years, because we do send reminders if you don't have a picture in the directory, a reminder that when marketing takes your picture when you first come in, we use that for a completely different purpose. That's not the glamour shot. Okay, 2 different pictures, so we won't use the one. We need an actual picture from our photographer, and we put all of those in the directory. So I heard there's been some confusion thinking you already had your picture taken, but if it's not the guy with the fancy camera, it won't go in the directory, and then we won't know what your beautiful face looks like. The pool will be closed October 7th to October 11th due to updated grab bar rules and some resurfacing work. So new grab bars coming our way. Fence work is going to be starting October 7th. It will have a larger red cement curb that will replace the rail ties. Can I get a woot woot from all the canal residents? Yes, I saw a few, yes. Aren't big fans of the rail ties. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I don't either. But I know they don't like them, so we're going to take them out. We're redoing the church lot across the street, Resurrection Church. If you're a parishioner there, you're welcome. But we are using a majority of their parking lot. They were kind enough to lease us those spaces. So we use those for a lot of our employee parking. And once we are fencing off the new space for our building, we will be having all employees parking there. So they were kind enough to kind of allow us to do some resurfacing in exchange for a break on the rent, and it's going to be great for everyone. They're going to have a beautiful lot that we will park in. We have a cool idea that we're going to trial. If you go over to the health center and you have ever wondered if your tram is here or if you're going to miss it, we are going to try a tram cam. We're going to have a monitor where you can sit inside and watch the circle for the moment that your tram arrives. Just in time for it to not be hot anymore. But it's going to be awesome. So prepare yourself. Go visit the health center just to experience it. Some events coming up. AARP Smart Driver Tech Workshop is this month on the 22nd. If you want to sharpen your skills, you can head to that. We have a healthcare vendor fair also on the 22nd, busy day. So you can attend that in this room. The Village Voice Podcast, episode 2, debuts on, it doesn't really a debut, but it comes out this Friday at 1 p.m. on 1960. We heard there were some issues with sound, and we think we've addressed that this time. I bet you really trust us now on that. just take my word for it. And we have a Halloween party coming up on Halloween itself, and the theme is Haunted Hollywood. So start considering your costume if you want to take home the prize in the contest. Are there any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
The moment you've all been waiting on. Just kidding. All right, folks, my report will start with our master plan. Neil talked about the sales activity. Having 32 sales right now for the 40 apartments is unbelievable, and things are moving quickly. We are in the process of securing our financing that would pay for the building of this building. Quite a process. Unbelievable what's involved in obtaining tax-exempt bonds from the municipal bond market. On Tuesday morning, we held a conference call with several institutional investors. The village and folks from Life Care Services worked our way through a presentation, basically presenting material that investors who make a living from making good decisions would want to see, understand, and the presentation went really well. We've got a great story to tell. It's such a wonderful time. It's kind of like, you know, if you don't need money, banks are willing to give you as much as you need. I'm not saying we don't need money, but we are in a very good, healthy spot financially. So good for us. The very thorough question and answer period that followed the presentation, I think we were able to answer all the questions they had to their satisfaction. The call was then followed up by a breakfast this morning. We hosted some institutional investors from Vanguard in the fireside for breakfast, and then had a Q&A session there as well, and then gave them a tour of the village. And the village, you know, it just tours so well. The residents that we met along the way showed them the rec center, the health center, memory care, all the wonderful locations here that we have here at the village. And I know that they all left feeling very good about what they saw. So we do see the financing part going very well. I am sure, from what I understand, the bond market is very hungry for good, solid, unrated debt, and that's exactly what we represent. So I see us probably doing quite well as it relates to the interest rates we end up having to pay for the money that we are taking on. Right now, we are targeting October 9th to price the bonds. However, that is subject to change. We did have a site survey, which had some questions specific to some of the transformers on our property. And so in absence of having good, solid answers for those, that represents risk, unknown risk, which investors do not like, and what they prefer is a good return on unknown risk, and we don't want to give them that. So if we have to, we may delay the pricing a little bit so that we can get the answers specific to the transformers on our property. So, like I said, that is October 9th is subject to change, but we are working on getting them what they need. Based upon that October 9th pricing, we have a closing date of October 24th. That is when the financing would take place. The money would actually transfer to us, which would then really kind of start the construction project. So it would not be unrealistic for us to see construction activity happening in November. So that is where things are headed. Last month, we made some announcements as it relates to the courtyard apartments. We talked about folks that who are residing in what we call harm's way or the danger zone. I think, you know, we talked about how we were going to be moving folks out of there and how that process was going to work. And I think we ended up confusing a lot of people or scaring people, which is never our goal. What we are in the process of doing, and we'll be communicating here soon, is scheduling a date and time in the private dining room where we can invite everyone who is currently residing in harm's way to come and join us for another presentation, effectively covering the same information we covered. We would be giving people handouts so that they have something to take home and they can refer back to, and ultimately being able to have a good question and answer session for those people that are affected, rather than doing that here in this type of format with a lot of people who are not going to be affected. So that will be coming soon. We will be scheduling that date and time for folks to come join us so that we can walk our way through that process and talk about it more. Dining services, last month I made a comment about encouraging people to use our comment cards, especially the electronic comment cards that are offered through our resident apps. And it really resulted in a lot more feedback, people using them and giving them to us, and we continue to read them and look at them and use them as a tool to get better. So I said, I'm going to mention it again this month. If you really want to encourage you, the online version is best, because what it does is it generates an email that instantly goes to an entire team so that we're able to see it. And if it's something that we need to quickly respond to, it helps us. A great example are those cafe specials that are going to be running for 7 days. Let's say we roll it out in day one and there's something not quite right and we're not catching it and missing it. People comment in and we can quickly check it, catch it, and figure it out. So it's been wonderful. I appreciate it. We have some folks who do a tremendous job giving us feedback, good, bad, indifferent, everything. We welcome it all. That's how we get better. So thank you, and please continue to do that. I mentioned last month we were going to have a first responders barbecue on September 13th, where we invited all of Mesa and Tempe's PD, EMS, and firefighters. And we did just that. We had our residents council team there helping represent the village and making sure that the folks that attended knew how much we appreciated them, not just from the staff, but from the residents who were often on the receiving end of their services. It could not have gone better. It was one of those days where you literally walk out of here feeling like $1 million. It was so cool. Spending that time with those folks, some of the most appreciative people I think we've ever served barbecue to, and they were very good eaters. It was made up of a group of people that had been here before and knew what to expect and had told a lot of people, and then the people who had never been here and were really excited because all they heard was for that week about how good it was. And we delivered. It was wonderful. So I just wanted to share that with you. It is absolutely 100% guaranteed going to be an annual event. It's just such a great opportunity, and we're going to look at growing it a little bit next year. We're thinking about a Mesa versus Tempe either ping pong competition or the cornhole beanbags game, something that could be played indoors. So we're working on that, but should be a lot of fun. Following on the barbecue, Jadine talked about the success that we're having for Alzheimer's fundraising. Never cracked $6,000, and we are staring almost $9,000 right in the eye. And unbelievable participation from everyone helping make that successful. The barbecue that we had last Saturday was awesome. It was a steady flow of people all day long. People really listened and followed us on the 12, asking to come after 12:30, and then you've got your group of people who came. They were there at about 10:45, ready to go. It worked out wonderfully. We did not run out. A lot of very favorable comments. I want to say thank you to everybody that helped volunteer to make it successful. Thank you to the Desert Ramblers for coming out and spending that afternoon with us. Those guys are so good and really just make it even more of a fun event. And then, of course, the residents, your families, your friends, your guests, everybody that came out and paid $20 for that lunch. And we just want to say thank you. It was fun, and we will definitely do that again next year as well. Our full count implementation did take place on September 15th. It replaced our Dining Dollars program. And as far as converting over from a system to another system, I was very happy with the minimal amount of bugs that we experienced. We knew for a fact, and I told you it wasn't going to be perfect. We delivered on that. We continue to work our way through it. But Brian did a great job of preparing his team and training them to minimize those impacts. Yeah. That guy, he had his eye on the ball with that one, and it paid dividends because it could have been a lot worse than it was. In setting up this system, we understand that we need to handle some of our taxation on purchases a little differently than we once handled them. We are going to be making some changes with how dining, not really dining dollars, it doesn't affect dining dollars, but it does affect other purchases, some of which aren't new changes, some of which are. So I just want to walk our way through this. First of all, any dining dollar transaction is not taxed. If it's dining dollars, it is not taxed. Guest meals paid for dining dollars, paid for with dining dollars, are not taxed because they're dining dollars. Resident overages, you've run out of dining dollars and you are now using real dollars. Historically, we did not tax those. We are supposed to, and we are going to begin. So if you were to run out of dining dollars and you are incurring additional expenses above what your dining dollar allocation would be, those purchases above and beyond that are going to be taxable. Residents purchasing guest meals with cash, check, or credit card, those will be taxed because they're not dining dollars. That's really the easiest way to say is if it's dining dollars, it won't be taxed. Effectively, if it's anything other than dining dollars, it will and should be taxed. All non-food items in the C-store, those are taxed. Alcoholic beverages have been and will be taxed. Catered events, they are taxed. They're not eligible for dining dollars. They never have been, and they won't be. And again, they're not dining dollars. Those will be taxed. And then again, any cash, check, or credit card transactions, those will be taxed as well. So we're just doing our part to follow the rules, and that's going to result in some changes, and that is what you can expect there. Del Fuego, I talked a little bit about the fact that we want to turn Del Fuego into a fully functioning restaurant, a dining venue. It'll help us relieve a little bit of the pressure on the cafe as well as on the buffet. So we are in the process of converting that area into a restaurant, which is easier said than done. We have engaged our architect team. We have also engaged Morrison Senior Dining. They have a full team of people that are specifically trained in how to design kitchens, and we have those two groups working together. We've had a few meetings where we've met with them, provided them with direction and guidance as to what we want and how we want to do it, and have sent them back to work together to create a conceptual design. We expect that conceptual design to be presented to us in mid-November. Once we see it and make whatever changes needed, we would then move into the phase where we start obtaining the permits, which could take 4 years. We hope to be able to get it figured out relatively quickly. The team that we're working with is already pretty well engaged with the city of Tempe as it relates to our larger development building. So we don't expect too much trouble there. But for all intents and purposes, we could be looking at probably in and around the kickoff of next football season, which is August. So it's not going to be super quick. Our big goal is to keep Del Fuego open throughout that process. So that wall that divides the kitchen, what will be the kitchen, and the current Del Fuego area, we will look to leave that up for as long as possible, doing work in that guest apartment, converting it over into the kitchen. At some point in time, we're going to have to punch through and do the final work there. But the goal will be to leave Del Fuego open as long as possible. As I continue to get more information, I will be sure to share that. We are working on our 2020 budget, and I wanted to kind of give folks an update. I talked a little bit about this, but minimum wage is going up January 1st, and that is something that we have been working on, a project that our human resources team and Michael, our PDP intern, have worked really closely together. He did a great job of wrapping our hands and minds around what the impact is going to be. from raising that minimum wage from $11.50 to $12. The other thing that we have been doing is really working on the compression that happens when you lower the ceiling or the base of people's wages. You have to look at the upper end, and then you have to look at everybody else as to where they're at and make adjustments so that you're not hiring people in at a wage that is the same as what somebody has been here for 2 to 3 years is making. So we've worked our way through that and have a good idea of what we're looking at. In addition, we took the opportunity to look at our wages and really compare them to the market. There has been a fair amount of increased wage activity happening as a result of supply and demand of labor. And we are finding that there are several areas where we were not being competitive. A great example, Taco Bell is hiring cooks for $14 an hour. That is not right. That is not where we are right now, and we are competing with Taco Bell. So we are making adjustments to our wages as well from a competitive standpoint. All in all, we are talking about more than $1 million hit for wages overall. And so we are currently working on a budget that is going to probably be in and around break even is what we're looking at. Maybe a little bit more than break even, maybe a little less than break even. And so from a monthly service fee standpoint, our goal is and will always be to be somewhere between 3 and 4%. And I can tell you right now that is right where we will be, somewhere between 3 and 4%. We will have next village meeting, the first Thursday of the month, will be the presentation of that budget and what that monthly service fee increase will be. So I expect this room to be as crowded as it is now, if not more crowded. Just an update on our community garden. As I had mentioned, the lease has been approved. It's been forwarded on to the city. The process for the city and an ordinance is what that is considered, really, are 2 hearings. The first hearing is scheduled to be on October 17th, and assuming that that will be approved, which we do, the second hearing for final adoption is scheduled for November 7th. If the ordinance is adopted on November 7th, it will be effective 30 days after adoption, which brings us to December 9th. So that is the update on that. I had a video talking about scooter safety. We had a scooter crash, which resulted in a resident being injured. And it couldn't have happened in a better spot from a security camera standpoint. We had some amazing footage that I wanted to show you, and I unfortunately can't because our system is not cooperating. But I wanted to kind of give you an idea because the stories I received would have told a very, very different story. What I saw was different, which made me feel a little better. But basically, we had a resident on a scooter, kind of, let's say, facing over by the stairs, facing almost towards where you would walk into the cafe, kind of angled that way. And we had a resident pedestrian walking kind of up next to that person. They were almost at an angle that kind of represents a V coming together. And unfortunately, the resident on the scooter was looking to her right and did not look to her left, which we of course need to, and that's exactly how accidents happen. I almost changed lanes the other day on the 60, and had I fully changed them, I would have been caused an accident, and thank God I did not. And I'm put myself on full alert to make sure I am doing a better job of checking everything before I change lanes. But that's how accidents happen. So this resident was looking right, however, she was moving more to a left angle. The pedestrian, you would have really thought, based upon seeing the video, would have seen this happening. They did not. And so the two collided. It could have been prevented. And so the resident, of course, that was walking lost that battle. The scooter won, and she fell and she twisted her ankle pretty bad, and she's working her way through that. Very, very unfortunate situation. So you really, I mean, at the end of the day, it's no different than anything. It's people tripping over parking curbs, or even those parking blocks that you stop on. That happens a lot. It's, as a pedestrian, we have to be aware of what's going on. As a scooter driver, man, we really have to look both ways all the time. It's no different than when I drive onto this campus. The second my car comes onto campus, I am at full alert. I am looking left, I am looking right, I am going slow, anticipating something that I'm not expecting, because you never know. And parking lots really and truly are probably the most dangerous place we could ever be driving. Same holds true in here as a pedestrian. So we have put on a session that we held here in the auditorium. We tried to make it fun for scooter drivers to come and have kind of a skills test. And we're going to continue to do that. We may increase the frequency, but we're never going to absolutely prevent all of these accidents from happening. It's gonna, what we can do is prevent as many as we can through being aware, and maybe next time I'll be able to show the video, because I think it really, seeing it's a powerful thing for me, at least when I see things like that. So wanted to share that part with you. We have a happy hour today from 4 to 6. It will be an Oktoberfest theme. We have Samuel Adams Oktoberfest beer in a keg, and we obtained some bratwurst from Schreiner's Sausage. If you know them, they do a nice job. We have it in the bulk format, so we were able to patty it, and it'll be served on a pretzel roll, and should be a lot of fun. So if that sounds like something you would enjoy, I encourage you to come out. I will have my lederhosen on, so you have been warned. I will, and Emily will have her traditional Oktoberfest dress on as well. So if that sounds like fun, I would love to see you join us. And then I'm going to open it up to questions real quick. Who has the first question? Pam. Okay. 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 So I'm going to restate what Pam said. Was she was hoping that we do a better job of patrolling and holding our vendor partners accountable for their speed on our campus. She had a near miss with an air conditioning vendor. We don't have too many of those on our campus, so we're certainly able to track that one back as to who it is. But thank you, and we will make sure we address that with security. I see Elsie, and I see Paul with a microphone, handing it to Elsie.
Thank you, Paul. I just wanted to know, these dudes that you were showing around today, and all how wonderful they thought the village was and everything, I would like to know what they thought about the carpet.
Elsie, I purposefully did not take them around the carpet. I did not want them to see that in case the deal fell apart. No, they liked it. That's a good one, Elsie. All right, I see Paul coming around to hand a microphone to Walt Blackmore, and here it comes.
Cole, in the planning, we've heard a lot about, for the new building, about parking. But as I understand it, in the new building, all there are apartments, no other accommodations. The next phase is we tear down a building that has a number of lounges and other rooms that we use for meetings or for getting blood draws, etc. What's the plan for those facilities?
For phase 1 or phase 2?
Obviously, it's going to be phase 2 when the building comes down.
Right. It is still early, Walt, for me to truly tell you with absolute accuracy what is planned for phase 2. However, even with phase 1, there will be some common area that is involved for that will allow people to be able to sit in spaces other than their homes. In addition, the rooftop of phase 1 will have some really neat amenity space where residents will be able to hold small gatherings and enjoy different types of activities. And we'll have 3 pickleball courts up there as well. So We're definitely, there's ratios that you use when you do develop these buildings that tell you about how many square feet as a ratio to overall apartments should be common area space, and we would be following those generally industry accepted, design standards is what we would be following. But I really can't comment too much on phase two, but as soon as we have a general design, I can certainly talk about that more once we have it. But definitely plan on having space for common area enjoyment. Yes, Matt, here comes Paul. We're giving Paul his workout today.
Thank you. In terms of the full count system conversion, should we be expecting replacement food cards, or are these eventually going to be able to read what we have?
Yeah, if the barcodes are supposed to work. There was a handful of folks whose barcode wasn't working, and it sounds like you're in that category. I would ask you if you would please reach out to Brian Banks to make sure he is aware. I could be wrong, but I kind of felt like he was getting those addressed. And so anybody else that has a barcode that is not working with our system, I encourage you to reach out to Brian Banks. He will be responsive, and I apologize for that. Okay, I see Frank New, yes.
I know that there are others besides myself that will have their parking lot disposed of for the 40-unit building. When will we be notified as to where we might be parking?
Right. We are, Matt Roeder, our Environmental Services Director, and his team are working through that plan right now. We do not have it finalized, and I would assume in the next couple weeks, we would have that finalized, because that's getting closer and closer to the date that which things would start, which is of course when you would have to be relocated. Just to circle back and make sure people know, there is going to be a point in time where all of our employees are going to be parking either over at Resurrection Church, along Evergreen, and or other locations that they, those are generally the only locations. But we will first be moving all of our employees off of the main campus, which will help free up additional spaces to work our plan where those residents who are going to be displaced, where they will be reaccommodated. So I would expect over the next couple weeks, Frank, we will be reaching out to those individuals. Do I have any more? Joni? Yeah, nurse practitioner survey. I knew if I didn't bring it up, somebody would. We connected with the team. We had a conference call with Team Health. It went very well, better than I had expected, and I think that based upon the information that folks received, or that we received from you folks, it compelled them to feel good about the fact that this makes sense. So we're just moving through that. It's going to take a little time. If there are no more questions, I have Neil Peterson coming back up here, and Neil wants to talk to you all briefly. So please welcome Neil back to the stage.
Now that Cole has thinned out the audience, that will help here, I notice. By the way, we're running a bit overtime today, and he just gave me permission to share with you. If you can beat him to the bar, the house drinks on the house. But you got to beat him there. But you can't go yet. Just want to take a couple minutes to share. I talk a lot about sales numbers and performance and the success that we've had. I want to give you just a little perspective, and I'm just going to narrow it down to the time that I've been here. It makes it easier for my mind. I came here in June of 2015, so we're basically talking 4.5 years. At the time that I came, we had 90 vacancies on the campus, 90. Of those, 45 were courtyard apartments, right in half. 38 garden homes were empty. 7 Main Street apartments were empty. So to give you a little perspective, it was a little bit of a different situation back in the summer of 2015. I'm very pleased to tell you in that period of time up through this week, we have been successful in selling 385 life care contracts, amounting to somewhere in the area of $83 million for the village. That is not, it is a total team effort. I cannot give enough credit to my 5 marketing representatives. Laura, who most of you know because she's the first fresh face you see when you walk in the marketing office, is amazing at keeping things organized and keeping me in check and greeting prospects, greeting residents and so forth. That continues on and on. Cindy, Kathy, and Jason, who supervises our move-in team construction folks and works with our subs. It's been never-ending for them. We keep them very busy. There's a lot of customization that's gone on in your homes, and to your credit, and it's not easily done. But they've done a terrific job, and the work continues. The new apartments will be a whole new experience in terms of selections and everything else. We're looking forward to that. I also want to acknowledge Pam Williams, and Pam does the community outreach. She also has had 3 or 4 different hats she's been wearing the last number of years. She works also with the Healthcare Center and Nunnenkamp to help transition and get people populated over there. And she helps tremendously with us when we have people that come to us, and we have more and more, and our name is out there, asking for assistance, and maybe they can't qualify for Friendship Village. We turn them over to Pam. Pam's very well networked, very experienced in the industry, and she has done a terrific job. And I want to share with you that Pam will be retiring on the 25th of October. So if you have a chance to see Pam or acknowledge the work that she's done, I'm sure she would appreciate that. And that's coming on pretty quick. And, you know, we joke about, and again, but now I'm quite serious again, you people, what you have done to contribute to that success, you don't know. And we do joke, I've been known to say that, you know, people walk up, prospects, what is with these residents? Everybody is happy. I don't understand this. Well, it's the Kool-Aid at 8:30. Everybody gets a little thimbleful, and that gets them started. And then we take it a little more extreme. At times I said, those guys you saw in the wood shop today, they don't even live here. They're actors. We bus them in the morning, feed them, let them talk, bus them out of here at night. Whatever it takes, it's working. Because people walk away and they're just astounded. The other thing that we've been known to do, which I think is hopefully a sign of a lot of confidence, is, you know, we're visiting with, say, hey, why don't you and your wife go out and sit in the Village Center for half an hour? We'll come back out. I'll come back out and talk with you. Tell me what you picked up. It's like, wow. Again, I can't believe it, how friendly people are, how sincere they seem. You know, you're all saying the things, yeah. And they love the new carpet, by the way. But anyway. We're going younger now. Come on now. We're going younger demographic. So we joke about this, you know, and if we had our video working today, I was going to share with you, so I'll highlight it for a second. I did show it at the board meeting earlier this week. I thought it was pretty funny. Cole is terrific in developing his management team, and one of the things that he's really been keen on is doing some book reading and then providing kind of like a final exam sort of thing, but it's breaking all the rules, and it's kind of a different way to go about management, because his key staff are managing people, et cetera, and how you get the best out of people. How are you most effective in doing that? And it's a wonderful book. I've been in sales management for many, many years. I've never read this book before, and I certainly got a lot out of it. And as part of the graduation, you know, passing process, you provide something, and in the case of my case and my teams, we did a series of videos, and the one that I was most involved with, and I dearly wish I could show it to you, involved Jan Grubmeyer and Zeke Proust, who many of you know in the room. Zeke was a terrific resident, an amazing person, board member here, bless his heart, and myself. And it was a classic example of the overbearing, you know, pain in the ass manager sitting there horning in on a sales call, which is trying to culminate in a new contract signature, And so Jan is going about it with Zeke, and I can't contain myself, and I'm jumping in and out, and you can see how annoyed they're both getting with me, even to the point where get near the end, and Jan's got the pen, giving it to Zeke to sign the contract, and I am all a Twitter, and I stop, and I take it away from her, and I pull out a Friendship Village pen, and I said, Jan, this is a big moment in Zeke's life. Give him something he can take home with. So it was that sort of an attitude, and we had a lot of fun with it, because I think, you know, again, how does that magic happen? How do your people do it? That's not how we do it. If we haven't had a manager in our life like that, we probably were a manager like that, and we don't want to do that. So we had a lot of fun with that, and hopefully, maybe on Touchdown or something, I can provide that to you. So why am I taking the time to reflect? This will be my last village meeting. I'm going to leave at the end of the month. We've got family health issues that I need to get home to be there to deal with. And I must also share in public that I am getting really close to my 7th decade. And I never expected I was going to be working that long, so I think it's time. It has been an amazing experience. Had no idea. One of my initial interviews was with Dawn Sigmund, who many of you know. Dawn is a regional director with Life Care Services, terrific, very, very knowledgeable, was here for many, many years. She said, Neil, when she first interviewed me, I'm going to tell you something. If we offer you this position, you're either going to really like this or you're not. And you're going to know in about 30 days. You're going to love working with seniors or you're not. It's not for everybody. It was a major change for me. I came from an advertising background and a lot of negotiating, a lot of can I get a better deal next year and da-da-da and just pounding. Here, I must say, and I speak for my team, you know, we go home every night feeling good because you make us feel good. You know, it's very affirming when you tell us the change that we made in your life, the benefit that we provided to your life. You know, I wish I'd have done this 5 years ago in my life. Yes, it is a wonderful gift that I've given my kids. You go home getting that feedback, that affirmation. You can't find it anywhere else. And it works. And I am going to miss that. I'm going to miss each and every one of you. Some of you I know quite well. You're all special, very, very special to me. So again, it's a bit with a heavy heart, but it's a thing that needs to be done. It's a time in one's life, and for me, this will be the time. So I will be here on and off because I have some vacation to use up through the end of October. My last day officially will be November 1st. And again, I so much appreciate the opportunity. My appraisal was done a few months ago, so I can say this freely. This is a unique individual up here on stage with me. When I first met him, I must say I walked away scratching my head going, this guy's running a senior community, but he does it like nobody else. And again, our resident satisfaction survey hopefully reflects that. There's so many aspects to it. He's got a terrific team, starting with Emily and Jay Dean, and you go down the row. They're very selective, trust me, in who's coming on this team. And they want nothing but the best. So again, I can't say enough other than thank you. And again, I'm not going to be gone this afternoon. I'll be around, and I'll be around for the next few weeks, but I appreciate all your support and your friendship. And I'm excited to see the future and get that building done and move ahead with the other projects, because this is an amazing place. Thank you.
All All right, everybody. Thank you very much. I told Neil earlier, he's a little bit like John Elway with the Broncos. He came on and we weren't where we needed to be and helped us win a Super Bowl and retired right after he won it. So what a great way to go out, making this place leaving it much better than he found it. So thank you. No, we are not going to cancel happy hour as a result of this. In fact, if you want to come drink your sorrows away with me, please come join me, and I'll see you at 4 p.m. Thank you all.